Bitcoin surging to its first record high.
May have just hit a new all-time high.
This morning, Bitcoin hit an all-time high.
On the SEC's official X account, claimed that Bitcoin ETFs were approved.
Bitcoin price is trading at an all-time high. Reason, recently approved ETF. We are expecting the same with Ethereum once its ETF is approved. What are the predictions, assumptions, and possibilities? We will discuss all. But first, let's dive into what's happening with Bitcoin after its ETF. The recently approved Bitcoin ETFs are exchange-traded funds that track the value of Bitcoin and trade on traditional market exchanges rather than cryptocurrency exchanges. They allow investors to invest in Bitcoin without having to go through the hassle of using a cryptocurrency exchange, while providing leverage to its price, which turned out to be a historic success after it got approved by the United States Securities and Exchange Commission in January 2024. During this, BlackRock's Bitcoin exchange-traded fund crossed $10 billion faster than any other US ETF in the history. IBIT's total assets are now around $12.7 billion, a result of Bitcoin's gain and more than $7 billion in net inflows. The 10 spot Bitcoin ETFs received net inflows of approximately $7 billion between their mid-January launch and the end of February. This also includes $8.5 billion in withdrawals from the $27.5 billion Grayscale Bitcoin Trust ETF, that is GBTC. Well, this has resulted in a spontaneous increase in Bitcoin's price. Bitcoin traded up 5.6% at $72,156, remaining close to a record high of $72,771 in the second week of March. But now the question is a 250% spike ahead similar to gold? Here are some vital statistical metrics that indicate how the Bitcoin price can hit a new all-time high of $80,000 shortly and follow the footsteps of gold. Gold price was around $700 when SPDR Gold Shares launched the first gold ETF in November 2004. By August 2011, it had skyrocketed 250% to reach a new all-time high of $2,450. Essentially, the spot Bitcoin ETF means that the institutions and traditional investors are investing in Bitcoin as an asset class. After Bitcoin's ETF approval, there are planning of Ethereum ETFs approval. Key sector players like the Grayscale Manager and Coinbase Exchange are pushing to get the green light, while investors are eagerly waiting for the same. Meanwhile, Jim Cramer, the famous American host, is making a rather surprising prediction about these crypto assets. What will happen to Ethereum's price if ETFs are approved? Jim Cramer is very optimistic about the imminent approval of Ethereum ETFs by the US Securities and Exchange Commission. This optimism fits into a very positive dynamic for Ethereum at the beginning of 2024. Many believe the coming arrival of Ethereum ETFs is inevitable. The world's largest fund managers are competing for the Ethereum ETF. Big-name firms such as Fidelity and BlackRock have already applied for a spot in Ethereum ETF over the last few months, as some analysts predict that the Securities and Exchange Commission of the US could approve those products very soon. In the same vein, Standard Chartered Bank even anticipated a surprising growth in the price of Ethereum by May 2024 if these ETFs are approved. While the Securities and Exchange Commission has not yet officially decided on the subject, many experts believe that the approval will take place in 2024. Recognized figures think it's a matter of months before Ethereum ETFs hit the market. The dynamic thus seems very favorable for the upcoming adoption of Ethereum ETFs, paving the way for a new era for this crypto. The impact on its price and development could be spectacular. The anticipation for Ethereum ETFs among investors is indeed palpable, and was the case with Bitcoin before its approval. However, the Securities and Exchange holds the cards and could take a few more months before moving forward or instead maintaining its current stance. Regardless, this product should invigorate the crypto ecosystem if it sees the light of day. Why Ethereum ETF is such a big deal? Let me break it down to you. Imagine you want to buy Ethereum right now. What would you do? You may search for a good crypto exchange platform like Binance and then go through a process to invest. Wouldn't it be a better deal if you are able to invest in cryptocurrencies through conventional platform? But this way can only be paved after the Ethereum ETF approval. But what will happen to the price of Ethereum after its ETF approval? Well, it may see a skyrocketing hike like Bitcoin. Bitcoin has surged by 35% since its ETF approval. Liquidity and accessibility are what make us hopeful for a bullish market for Ethereum after its ETF approval. Ether could very well go above $8,000 or $10,000 this year, maybe even higher after the approval. Head of FX Research Geoff Kendrick mentioned that Ethereum can mark a 70% price upside from Ethereum's current value. This is what Geoff has to say, quote unquote. We expect pending applications for the Ethereum US Spot ETFs to be approved on 23rd of May, the final deadline for the first of the ETFs under consideration. The equivalent date to 10th of January for Bitcoin ETF. ETF will allow the market to be more accessible to a broader range of investors. This accessibility can attract more retail investors who may not be familiar with buying cryptocurrencies directly on exchanges. The launch of an Ethereum ETF will potentially impact the price of Ethereum itself, increased investors' interest and inflow of funds into the ETF could drive up the demand for Ethereum, leading to price appreciation. It will potentially increase liquidity in the Ethereum market as more investors gain exposure to the asset through the ETF. Increased liquidity can lead to smoother price discovery and reduce price volatility. Bitgate Research Lee added that an Ethereum ETF could increase liquidity as seen with what has been happening with Bitcoin in recent few weeks. However, to catch a significant chunk of this capital, crypto exchanges will have to reignite their creativity to float products that will keep investors from exploring ETFs on traditional platforms. The anticipation of an Ethereum ETF approval looms large, promising significant ramifications for the crypto market and beyond. With industry giants like Grayscale and BlackRock eyeing for approval, industry experts are bullish on the likelihood of this milestone. If approved, an Ethereum ETF could usher a new era of accessibility, liquidity, and credibility for Ethereum ecosystem and the whole crypto industry. But there is more space for more ifs and buts, as the US Securities and Exchange Commission is still dwindling with it, resulting in investors and experts have lowering down to their expectations to only 30%. All we can do is hope for the best. For more such stories, keep watching CoinGate TV.